Hey guys, so I figured it would probably be easiest when it comes to doing makeup for the show if I did a video tutorial so that you guys can follow along and practice at home. If there's anything you're not sure about, you can like rewind it a couple of times and take a look at the things you're not certain of. It's really simple to do 40s makeup, especially 40s Air Force, because you're really not going to be wearing a ton of makeup when you're on the base, but you still want to look like you're a put together 40s girl nonetheless. So the first thing we're going to start with is you are going to moisturize. You always moisturize, even if you have the most ridiculously oily skin like I do. Before you put on a bunch of stage makeup and wear it under those hot lights, you just have to moisturize. Otherwise, you're going to end up with scaly grossness that nobody wants, and it's going to be really bad for your skin. So I already did that because I didn't think y'all wanted to see me putting on my morning moisturizer because it's boring. But what you're going to start with is you're going to go ahead and take a foundation that's just about your normal skin tone. And I mean, just find a shade that's best for you. If you're having some trouble with it, feel free to come and ask me. I have a couple of brand recommendations if you're not sure, if you don't wear makeup a lot. So I can always help you out with that. If you need me to go actual foundation shopping with you, I'm also willing to do that. We just have to find a time before the show opens, and that's really soon. So I'll go ahead and get started. So you're going to just go ahead, and I use one of these little spongy thingies, but you don't have to. You can use your hands, you can use a brush, whatever you have. Hands are just as good, really, because the oils in your fingers helps everything to stick, but I get grossed out, so I use my sponge. And you're just going to go ahead, and I will probably speed this up, and cover. Make sure you get everywhere. Nose, because that's super pretty. Above your eyes, that's going to help be a primer to help everything stick to your eyes. Not that there's a ton of eyeshadow involved either. Just be sure to kind of blend it through. I have a bunch of grossness on my face right now that's probably going to shine through, but I'll fix it for actual production time. Make sure you go over your ears and down your jawline, because the last thing we want is to have this gorgeous, pristine face and then the rest of you be an entirely different color. Not that they'll be able to tell much in your jumpsuits, but, you know, it's a just-in-case sort of thing. I even go over my lips a little bit just to kind of entirely even everything out. Look at my mirror behind this. Okay, so once that is done, you're going to take a concealer. Some of you won't need it because your dark circles aren't as bad as mine. So if you don't have a concealer at home already because you don't usually use it, I would still recommend going out and getting one that's just a touch lighter than your foundation, because we want to highlight this part of the face, especially when we're on stage, so that nothing gets super washed out or crazy. It's going to look ridiculous, but draw a really big triangle and kind of fill it in. Pretty. And then blend it up and out. You're going to want to blend it along the top of your cheekbones and then down around the corners of your mouth. And I take it up and over my eye again, just to give my eyeshadow some more sticking power. I apologize if my camera on my computer's acting wonky. I haven't perfected the tutorial ness of being a makeup person yet. So if you're confused about anything, just grab me and I'm more than happy to talk through it with you, because I love talking makeup and it's awesome. Okay, so once that is done, you're going to go ahead and take a powder. I use NYX. You can't read it because it's backwards, or at least it is in my screen. Watch when I put this up, it'll be like right way around and I'll look like an idiot. Anyway, I use NYX setting foundation powder stuff. It's called Set It and Don't Fret It because it holds up really well against the stage lights and sweating and all that jazz. So you're going to take a brush, or you can use a little powder poof. I don't know where mine is, but it's like the old-fashioned poofy stuff. I know it's really descriptive. I'll show you. I'll show you if you want, or if you think you have it, I'll show you. And you just buff the powder. Make sure you get it all over so that you have a nice even base for all the stuff we're doing on top of it, which isn't really that much because the 40s were great. Extra oily spots on my skin. Okay, there we go. We have your base, and it took me a lot longer than it usually does because I was talking and getting nervous in front of the camera, which I really shouldn't do by now. Anyway, the next thing we are going to focus on is brows. So I use a brow pencil, but you could also use a little kit like this, or even just a regular eyeliner pencil, especially if you have really dark eyebrows. It's not going to be noticeable if you just use like a kohl brown or black eyeliner pencil, but I use this sucker because mine are a weird color to try to match. So the 40s brows were really arched, and I'm pretty lucky when it comes to this particular brow because this sucker already has a weird arch of its own. This one is more rounded. Eyebrows are weird. They're sisters, not twins. So you're going to go ahead and start from the front here and do short strokes that make it look almost like hair. So you're filling in and up. To get that 40s arch, you can draw a little bit above into almost a straight point here, and then take it down straight away into another point. I really need to do my eyebrows. Into the point here. So you have your pointed arched brow there. That was the easy one. This one is super hard to try to mimic. Hopefully you guys will have more luck with yours. You fill in this part here, make them even, because of course mine aren't even. And you take it up to an almost invisible point, and then draw it down. And it might thicken some of your brows, and what you can do is you can always take concealer and run it along underneath, and that will help you get that more pointed look, which I'm going to do because this one looks a little bit like a clown brow. But first, this is just a powder that'll go over and help them show more on stage, fill in the kind of spots that aren't as full. And now I'm going to take concealer with a brush. I'm going to look in the mirror for this so I don't mess up. Okay. Well, the good news is we were going to do the concealer thing anyway, because 40s, sharp points. Go ahead and just do underneath those as well. And if you need to, you can blend it out with your fingers some. It's less icky. Okay, so now we have our brows done. Looking fierce. we can move on to the rest of the face. I have a contour palette here that I use. This one was like $8 maybe. It was super cheap, but you can use any brown or not brown, any bronzer or anything like that that fits your skin tone, depending on what you prefer. And what you're going to do is take your pencil or brush and line it up with your cheekbone here. And you're going to brush the bronzer just beneath that to get a contour and shape to your face. In the 40s were a lot about the cheekbones. They did some really cool subtle highlighting stuff that really helped them pop, and you'll see when we get to the blush that they mixed the use of contour and blush to kind of create this popped cheekbone look. You can't really see on this one because of the lighting, but this one over here you can tell is already a little bit more defined than it was before. And these days they tell you to like draw a 3 on your face when it comes to contour and highlighting, but in the 40s you're only going to want to do the just the basic cheekbone swoop here. For stage we can modify that and add a little bit here and here to your jawline, but it's really not super necessary because the stage is small and you shouldn't lose too many of your features when it comes time to perform. Okay, so I have my same blush. I'm gonna dab that on. And you're gonna want to smile and do the apples of your cheeks all the way up. I just do a nice blending motion there. You can see already it's kind of starting to pop out. Probably see better on this one because there's more shadow. But just use a light pink blush, and if this was for every day, you wouldn't really go overboard. Since it is for stage, you're going to want more than you usually would have, just because that way it reads from the stage as a different thing. Anyway, we're not going to use a highlighter, even though that was in there, because they didn't really have the metallic pigments yet, so that wasn't something that they'd be working with. That's not something we're going to go ahead and use now. So then we're going to go on to the eyeshadow, and what you're going to do is you're going to take a shade that's a little bit lighter than your skin tone. Try to make it matte if possible. That just means no glitter, no shiny in it. So you're going to take that shade and you're going to brush it all over your eyelid and up to just beneath your eyebrow. And they didn't use a ton of eyeshadow back then, like they didn't put a lot of emphasis on it, so it's not like the super dramatic eyeshadow looks we have today, or even like in the, God forbid, the 80s or anything like that. So it's really more of just contouring your actual eye to make it look a little bit more deep set and defined. Okay, so that is done, and I have a blending brush here. You're just going to dab it in the corner of your eye and blend it in your crease. And this is a dark brown gray shade. You're not going to want to make it too dark. Kind of look at it and think, yeah, this could be a shadow in my face. You see how it's kind of mimicking an actual shadow as opposed to being like, oh my god, brown, or whatever. Same on the other side. And we can always modify this when it's not in front of a camera. That'll be what our first few dress rehearsals. We'll work on getting just the right balance of makeup to everything else. So you can still see my circles. all that jazz. But the eyes are pretty much done except for eyeliner. And so what most of you are going to do is just do a basic line along your lash line. For those of you whose characters are slightly more feminine, you can also take it out in a little bit of a wing. Do the Agent Carter cat eye. But that's entirely up to your character choices. So I'll go ahead and I'll do this eye just normal, like you guys would. I'm going to use my mirror for it. Sorry for the quiet. The eyeliner takes concentration. And if you do have troubles with eyeliners, I totally get it. It took me ages to be able to like even pretend I knew how to do it. So I'm more than happy to help you guys out with it if you need it. No problem. And if you're more comfortable with the gel or pencil versions, that's totally fine too. This is just my preference for liquid liner. So just like this, it just defines your eye and makes it pop. You don't have a wing out here. And that's just what you're going to do to kind of help open your eyes up on stage, make them readable, and still read as the 40s girl. Now, if you want to go more dramatic, or if your character is, say, Southern Belle, like Norma Jean, I don't know if she would take a little bit more time. Obviously, most of them weren't putting on eyeliner or had time to do it properly in the mornings. But if you want to go ahead and give her the more dramatic flair, go ahead and add a wing. So eyeliner's not cooperating with me. A little wing, oops, that's readable from stage. It's going to be bigger than maybe what you would wear in real life, but again, it just has to read from stage. Inner corners of your eye. And if anybody thinks their character would have a wing but they're not really sure how to do it, feel free to go ahead and approach me and ask, because I love doing this. It's super fun. And if you need any tips, I'm more than happy to give those to you too. So that one's a little smudged, but it'll do for what we're looking at, since most of you will just be doing this to your eye. Okay, so there's that. The last thing you're going to do, second to last thing you're going to do, is you're going to do your lashes. I like to curl mine ahead of time, but especially for those of you who aren't doing a wing or anything like that, just take a mascara and do a couple of coats on your lashes to make sure they really pop out. And it will help with the look to make the eyeliner and lashes look thicker. So there's that. Okay, so our last step is going to be the lips. And I, of course, put my lipstick in there. So the shade that I'm recommending everybody get is called Red Revival. It's by Maybelline, and you can find it in CVS or Target or Walmart or wherever you go to buy drugstore makeup. It's not very expensive, and it's a red shade that looks good on every skin tone I've tried it on, and that's been a lot. I've had it for a couple of years now, and I keep recommending it to people, and it's been on a Puerto Rican girl, and a redhead who had never found a red lipstick that she could wear before. So, I mean, that's kind of the spectrum that has been tested on, which is pretty wide, considering how pale redheads are. And it's a really pretty, traditional, true red. I don't know why I'm doing this. And I usually like to put on a lip liner beneath it. You don't have to, but it helps it stick a little bit better. So draw an X and Cupid's bow. That's yucky. Okay, so your liner doesn't have to be precise, it just has to be, well, the liner has to be precise, but it doesn't have to be entirely filled in on your lips. You go ahead, just take your lipstick. And there you go. You've got the 40s glam. Not so glam because you're on an Air Force base. I would like for everybody in the show to start out with a red lip, with the exception of maybe, say, Eddie or Carol, because they're a little bit more tomboyish, but because that was the standard look back then, I feel like everybody would at least be arriving with it, and then you can maybe let it wear off through the course of the show without reapplying. For those of you who feel like you'd be a little bit more upkeep, you'd have a little bit more upkeep with your look, then you can reapply if you need to. Obviously, that's up to you and your character choices and what Sonda has to say. So I know this was super long. I might go in and try and edit it, or I might be lazy and just put it up on YouTube, and you guys can skip around to the stuff that you need, or just kind of flag things that you're looking at. Just skip to the part where you're not sure of what you're doing, or if you just sit here blah blah blah, enjoy hearing me ramble, you could just go ahead and watch it over and over again. It'll be great. Anyway, if you need any help, feel free to give me a call or Facebook me, and I'm more than happy to come help you guys out with whatever you need. And yeah, thanks for watching, and again, if you have any questions, let me know.